have this
Beer.
is
Beer.
itself.
Beer. So many choices.
Only no function beer well without.
Woohoo! Beer!
Hello and welcome to another episode of Beer Busters, where we're going to bring in the news and reviews of some wonderful brews. My name is Dan Baker, as always joined by my co-host and brewerologist,
Steph Hefner.
and our from entertainer,
Wayne Baker.
Now today we are out and about on location, even though there's actually very little background noise for once. But we're somewhere I'm very excited to be because we've had the guys sitting at the table with us on a couple of times, and it's always a blast. We have with us
Colin Presby
and
Tom Scolio.
of course, from Golden Avalanche Brewing Company. And you guys are, let's just say we've had a lot of good times, and you're definitely characters. We can go with that. And Tom, you still hold the record as the only person whose mic I've actually turned off.
That's true.
So
That's true. It's officially only been turned back on.
Yeah, just for
Just
now.
now.
Just now.
Just for now, yeah.
You're on a probation.
He's also the only person who's ever stolen my microphone.
That's right.
Kicked me right off the show.
That was the same night. Yeah, that's right.
He
Oh,
rage joined the
Yeah,
podcast.
he-
good
something like
old
that.
brew for rage join. Is that what we're calling
Yeah.
that? Okay,
Well, it's the
sure.
opposite of rage quit.
True.
Because if you're
Happy
going in
Well,
and
join.
like grabbing a microphone.
Yeah, wouldn't the opposite of rage quit be something like happy and
Like,
uplifting?
there was
and-
nothing rage about it. I just merely took his headphones and I
He
would
just said,
shoot him
"It's
away.
my turn now, excuse me."
Yeah,
And I was
pretty
happy
much.
to oblige.
I
So
was very
polite joining.
Yeah, I was very polite.
Okay.
for once.
So I like rage joining better.
Rage join. We can make it a thing. I'm so angry I have to
You,
join
you guys
this.
knew that was going to be gold, which it was with me and Luke at
Of
the
course.
table.
Gold
Of
and then
course.
Golden
Golden
Avalanche.
Avalanche.
Yeah, I see what you did.
It was golden
there.
and evil at the same time.
30
Oh.
seconds into the episode, and we already have a groaner.
It's going to be that kind of night. I can already tell. Well, in that vein. All right, so I have lists, and I know we are all fans of them.
Lists.
Yeah. So the first is it's an infographic that again I will make sure that I remember to send to Wayne so we can get it up on the website. In fact, let me write it down. Wayne, pick here the paper so you know I'm actually doing it.
Yeah, if you don't do it right now, it's not going to happen.
It's on the sheet, and if not, I'll remember when I go back to edit. So it's a map of every country in the world and their favorite beer. Now, Wayne, you can kind of see the screen, so you're not allowed to really participate.
Okay.
No, instead of me just going through different countries, just name a country.
Germany.
Germany. Let me find Germany. I got to zoom in. Donde está Germany? Oh, they made the font so small that I can't even see it.
You didn't plan this out too well, did you?
Ottinger? Ottinger. There's a lot of names on here I can't pronounce.
What are you even looking up? Did you even explain what this infographic is?
Yeah,
Yeah.
a map of every country in the world and their favorite beer.
Oh, their favorite beer. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
So
Yeah, favorite beer in every country.
what is the favorite beer in the United States?
United States, I'm very
Take a
sad to
wild guess.
report.
Bud Light.
Golden Avalanche Golden Blonde Lager?
No, if it were that, I'd be very happy.
That's a
to
very
report
close
that.
second.
Okay.
As
As long as we're in the top 5.
yes, Bud Light,
Of course,
Yeah.
Bud
Yeah.
in
Light.
the U.S.
Our friends to the north,
Budweiser,
Budweiser. Our friends to the south,
Corona?
of course.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Corona. Let's hope they're using limes.
Jamaica, of course, is
Well, what else would you expect but
Red
Red
Stripe.
Stripe?
Yep.
How about let's go to Brazil? It's Skol.
Skull.
Skol.
Nice.
There was one I saw earlier when I was looking through that I thought was kind of funny.
What's Russia's?
Russia, I hate you. Wait, I gotta zoom in so I can see it.
Cut my
Is that a
mic
B?
off.
I think that's
it's
a B.
So it's
Bajinka.
Bajinka.
That might be an H. It might be Bajithka.
How
Yes.
did they determine this?
You know, it didn't say. It just said, "Here's the information."
Because nobody
pretty
called
sure.
me.
It's probably overall sales data.
I would imagine
I would
sales.
think, yeah.
Because on a previous episode not too long ago, we did find out that Bud Light is like $7 billion in sales in the U.S. every year.
And then they're ahead of the number 2 by like threefold.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
You have in somebody just name a country, please.
French Guiana.
Oh, come on.
You asked.
It's right there.
It's
There's
right
no
there.
beer.
There's no beer
There's no
listed.
beer. Venezuela.
Bolivia.
Venezuela.
South
Venezuela was
Africa.
polar. What, Steph? What did you say?
Bolivia.
Bolivia.
Lake Titicaca.
Where's Bolivia?
South America.
Thank you. Pisania.
Pisania. Okay. What did you say? South Africa?
South Africa.
South Africa is Carling Black Label.
Okay.
I remember what it was. Where is it?
Are there any that are actually a surprise or
well,
a really well-known beer?
Taiwan's is just called Taiwan beer.
Nice.
South Korea is Cass. North Korea is probably made by the Ultimate Leader or whatever he's calling himself now.
In North Korean.
Oh,
Like,
China, of course.
text. Snow. Yeah.
Snow, yeah. How about India was Kingfisher. Myanmar is what looks to just be Myanmar beer. You have Thailand is there's two for Thailand apparently, Chang and Singha. In Malaysia and Singapore apparently you have Tiger beer for both of them. Indonesia was Bintang. A country called Mauritius maybe is Phoenix.
How about Europe?
Yeah,
Start naming
let's
Europe.
go to Europe.
Places that people are going to recognize.
Oh,
Yeah.
I recognize all these other places. Not really.
Recognize. Find on a map.
Don't
or
know how
two
to.
different-
So-
it's very true.
England is Carling.
Ireland is.
Ireland, you would of course imagine Guinness, totally.
Better be.
Spain is Cruz Campo.
This is way more interesting if you can actually look at the infographic.
Yeah.
Wayne will put it up on the site.
It'll be on the interwebs.
And I'm going to remember to email you that. But take a look around, pick a country when you're looking at it. Hopefully you're good
Print
at
it out,
geography, you
throw
know where it
darts
is.
at it.
Yeah, and then wherever the dart hits, try to find that
Try to
beer.
find that beer.
Yeah, and probably pay $20 a bottle getting it imported. Okay, so the next thing is a little more relevant to us specifically here geographically in the Northeast. It is from Thrillist, one of my favorite websites. Of course, except for beerbusterspodcast.com.
Of course.
It is the 16 best breweries in the Northeast. So does anyone want to take any stabs as to what might be on the list?
So what number is Golden Avalanche on here? I mean, is it ranked?
No, it's just...
Oh, it's just
here's
the group of 16.
Yeah,
Okay.
Right. It doesn't have.
I figure we're at least in the top 16.
yeah. I would say so.
Stone, New Belgium, Sierra
Northeast.
Nevada. Oh, Northeast.
Yeah.
I am not listening
the
Northeast.
As we're
Victory.
talking about
Alchemist,
geography.
I'm assuming, is on
Yeah.
there.
What's that?
Victory.
The Alchemist.
The Alchemist was there,
yeah.
Victory's
Victory's
there.
on there. Brooklyn's on there.
Dogfish Head.
Dogfish.
Trogs, maybe.
Is Trogs on there?
Trogs, actually, no. As much as they
Should
like
be.
Trogs,
Did not
as much
make
as
the
we
cut.
like Trogs.
Hill Farmstead.
Hill
Tired
Farmstead.
Hands.
Southern
Southern
Tier.
Tier
Oh,
was
Southern
there.
Tier.
Yeah, it's
With the obligatory picture of pumpkin.
Well,
of
New
course.
Belgium.
This isn't
Oh,
fair.
they're not
all
open
just
yet,
reading
though.
off the screen.
I know. We can see
I
the
know, I
screen.
can't
You
see
guys
the
can't.
screen.
I wasn't cheating.
I did ask for guesses. They're just the only ones that actually jumped in.
Ah.
Although Steph started mentioning like California breweries.
Clearly, I'm not listening very
Yeah.
well tonight. I'm sorry.
So, of course, we have Allagash was on there that we didn't mention. We had Brooklyn Trillium is there. Dogfish
Ooh.
Head. Treehouse Brewing out of Massachusetts. Jack's Abbey. We didn't mention them.
Oh, yeah.
Stillwater Artisanal. Evil Twin. We didn't mention them.
I like their labels. Evil Twin.
Yes.
They have cool
yes.
labels.
Lawson's Finest Liquids out of Vermont.
Ah, yes.
Steph,
hoppy.
in your travels to Vermont, have you had their stuff?
Of
Oh,
course.
yes.
Okay. I don't know
And
why
I've
I had to
shared
bother
it.
asking.
I've shared it with her. It's very
Oh,
good.
New England Brewing, Victory,
Oh,
which
yeah.
Oh,
is
New England Brewing.
yeah, Victory out of Downingtown, Smutty Nose out of Hampton, New Hampshire, Southern Tier, and Maine Beer Company.
So New England. It was just the Northeast.
Northeast
Okay.
from Delaware up,
I
pretty
want,
much.
now that we're done with this conversation.
Yeah, it finally sinks in. Yeah. So yeah, if you go to Thrillist.com, and I'm sure we can link to the page from our site, they have a little write up of each of them too. What makes them the best, one of the best in the Northeast. Now, a glaring oversight on their side was, of course, Golden Avalanche. But we have to write angry letters. So instead of writing your congressman, write to Thrillist and tell them how awesome Golden Avalanche is. Speaking of which, as we mentioned, we have Tom and Colin here with us, or as I like to say, Tom Collins. Guys, thank you for having us out here.
You're the first one to make
Very
that reference.
original.
That's groaner number 2 for the evening.
Yeah, yeah,
For those of you keeping score at home.
yeah.
This may be another drinking game this episode.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for having us out here. It's this is actually my first time at the tavern, believe it or not.
Welcome.
Oh, thank you. And I had the brisket sandwich earlier, which was phenomenal. It was really good.
Awesome.
And I didn't drink beer while I was eating it because I had to make sure I had a clean palate.
Okay.
So I would imagine that what's in our glass right now that we'll get to in a little bit is what you would pair with that. Now,
Yep.
it's a little teaser. So
Yep.
stay tuned
Absolutely.
in about 10 minutes. And you'll hear what it is. Now, speaking of beers that we've brewed, we do have a sipping beer.
Yay.
And the sipping beer is
A special sipping beer this
special
episode.
sipping beer. It is, yes. It is, if you have gone to beerbusterspodcast.com, it is the beer that is featured in our latest video there. We have Habanero, which we brewed
See.
with Brad and Steve from, of course, Booby's Brewery. So this is the first I have gotten to drink it. Steph brought a growler that she had filled at the release for it. So Wayne, have you taken a sip yet?
I just took my first sip of it.
You give your thoughts as I take my sip.
I will. I am glad that it is not ridiculously hot.
It's not.
She is so disappointed.
I think
Yeah, I know.
Steph thinks it could
I
be
wish it
hotter.
was much hotter, but I can always run it through a Randall.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm glad that I will be able to taste the rest of the beers this evening, and you can taste the flavor of the peppers in the
Yes.
front end.
Yeah,
It's
not
really
just the
nice.
heat.
Yeah,
That's really good. I'm proud. We did a good job, I would say.
Absolutely.
I didn't really do much.
It's for those that don't know. It's an IPA / Imperial IPA. It came out at 7.2.
IPA.
something. Yeah.
Yes, base. Good malt backbone, a little sweet in the finish. And Brad wanted to add a few habaneros. I convinced him to
Yes,
add the
there
whole
was
box of habaneros.
Some number of habaneros. I tried to get a weight, but nobody knew the answer.
No,
so
nobody
there's-
really knew how many, but
there's
it was
some
like
number of
it was a
habaneros.
box. So we roasted
a
them.
box. That's the measurement.
We roasted them in the
Base beer.
but what is that machine called? The boiler?
Steamer? Or was it just in the oven? I think
In the
he's-
oven?
he's having
I
it
don't
in an
know.
oven. We roasted them in that fancy machine. I think it's called an oven.
We roasted them in the oven. The chef did at Boobies for us, and then we took 2 pitchers of wort and I pureed them, and then we added it to the kettle at the end of the boil.
And my favorite scene from the video that we did, which you can watch at beerbusterspodcast.com or go to youtube.com/users/beerbusters. I don't think we have a vanity URL yet.
They don't do vanity? Or-
They
oh, you
do,
have to
but you have to reach a
qualify.
certain. Yeah. Go to beerbusterspodcast.com and you can watch the video. But my favorite scene is when you're bringing in the pot of the pureed peppers and Brad's standing there and he just leans back and like grabs his face like, oh my God, this is crazy.
I did wear goggles when
Yeah.
I pureed them, but
You would have been crazy not to.
Yep.
yeah, I may have liked a few peppers in the finished beer, but obviously this is a beer that they have to sell at the restaurant, so
For normal people.
Yeah, we can't make it melt people's faces off. But it was a really, really fun day.
was.
I tapped my first ever firkin.
And
Nice.
That's
broke
also
the
in the
spigot.
video.
Almost broke a lot of stuff, but I didn't.
You did, yeah.
There's some great clips of that in the
There's
video
some
too.
really
Thank
good
you very
clips.
much. But yeah, it was a good day and it's a good beer. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Being
it's,
outsiders, obviously
knowing-
we have to love it because we put our love into it.
Knowing Steph, it's definitely a Steph beer. It's got a little bit of heat and good pepper flavor. I like it.
It's in the Steph ballpark, but it definitely does. I've had the Steph beers before where it's like,
Yeah.
I need water.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
No, it's very good, and I paired it with the rice and beans that they have at Boobies. If the food at the pub is very, very good if you've never been there, and it
Yeah,
was a
they
good
had,
pairing.
what were the wings I had? They were like spicy chocolate sauce
Yeah.
wings.
Oh, yeah, hot
This is so
chocolate.
hot chocolate,
Yeah.
that's
but
right.
they were spicy, like buffalo, hot plus
Plus
dark
chocolate syrup.
bitter
It was
chocolate.
really good. I've never seen that done before. And apparently, I think I was the first person to order them too, because we
It
got.
was a special they had just started.
Yeah, it was like just that day, and then since we were there so early, we were the first people to get served food.
Well, they do a special wing every week.
Okay.
Well, I
And
think
we
it's-
were there Sunday.
Right, it started-
as soon as lunch started. We went and we ate.
So I was not only were we the people to create this beer, but I was the first person to have those wings,
exactly.
and they were good. So if you see that special again at Boobies, do it. Steph, that includes you.
Okay.
I might have to tell our guys in the kitchen about the hot chocolate
Oh, yeah.
wing sauce. We always do a special wing sauce on Monday nights. That's our wing night here. And we've been doing a lot with beers lately. They've done a spicy hop hat and a Citra with our Donner Weiss. And those were fantastic, but the hot chocolate might be pretty cool.
It was really good. Oh, so
Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah, I tried some.
But enough about us.
enough about us.
Yes.
And if you
Oh, wait. First of all, the reason I was distracted so much and not really paying attention is because, Colin, you were doing something over there with those glasses. Did that
Oh.
work, what you did?
Yeah, it
what'd
worked
you
pretty
do?
well.
Wait, what'd you do? Oh, so we're mixing.
Yeah.
Okay, let's give this a shot. This can be our first part of an unofficial tasting segment, I
Now,
guess.
don't dump it all because we
Right,
have to.
right.
But to give it away, our first, once we get to tasting segment number 1, we'll talk to the guys first. We're going to do their house smoked porter, which is my favorite one on the lineup right now. I really love this beer. But Colin dumped some of it into the habanero.
It's got an
nice.
interesting smell.
Smokiness, roastiness.
This
and then
was
you get the bitter hops and the spicy habaneros.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
wow.
was inspired by actually one of our wing sauces. Our house wing sauces is a smoky habanero.
So you could do
And-
a firkin with habaneros.
Yep. I was thinking about that. I think that's a great idea.
Let me know. I'll
right.
I'll tap that.
So
I have
you're
experience now.
you're our firkin expert with peppers.
Yeah.
I have added peppers to a few firkins in my day.
Can we call this Golden Boobies?
No. Hoppin'.
Booby Avalanche.
Smoked in. No, we don't. No.
Swell.
No,
I don't know,
because
we
it's
just-
not technically. No, we need to combine. We can talk about this off air. Like
No, I think it's better if we leave it on air.
hoppin', smoke and
Smoke Hop and Porter.
smoke hoppin' porter.
Smoke, hop, and porter.
Smoke hoppin'.
Golden boobies.
Smoked Hop and Porter.
Smoked with a D.
Yeah.
There you
Smoked
go.
hoppin' porter.
There you go.
I like it.
That was-
Smoked
You
hoppin'
should
porter.
probably talk to the guys at Boobies before you
Yeah,
agree to any type of collaboration, especially on our behalf.
But it needs the tilde. Smoked hop and porter. Like that.
Just try to get down.
Yes, for anybody who can't
Well,
see.
I'm adding
Put
it's
it- put it-
untapped, clearly.
Oh boy,
Of course.
that's a unique check-in.
That is
It
that
is.
would be,
Oh,
yes.
yeah. Very cool. Well, enough about us and why Steph was distracted, but that was a very good idea you had there, Colin. So, as we mentioned countless times already, we're at Golden Avalanche, which is in Kutztown at the Kutztown Tavern, Kutztown, Pennsylvania, if you're not from the area. Now, you guys are you're planning some upcoming beers, including, I heard you talking earlier, using a different malt provider, was it? Or a different
Yeah,
style of malt?
we started working with Deer Creek Malting out of, I want to say, the Westchester area, but they're a Pennsylvania maltster. They're very new, just opened up earlier this year, and they're starting to make contacts in the craft beer scene. They're making malt with all Pennsylvania-grown grain, which is a big step, and it's something that is just sort of happening in this area. You know, there's a lot of push right now for like local grown, local made, locally sourced ingredients. And really, prior to these guys, there wasn't a malt producer making malt in Pennsylvania. So we just brewed yesterday. I brewed. I'm calling it our Dunkel Dutch, which is a Dunkel lager brewed with a lot of their Dutch malt, which is kind of a little bit like a Munich type malt. So it's their Pennsylvania Dutch, and so it's fermenting away nicely, and looking forward to it.
Awesome.
When do you expect that'll be ready?
It is a lager, so we're going to give it probably a good 6 weeks. Upstairs, give it a little bit of time. So
Which will be about 2 weeks from the time you're hearing this.
there you go.
That's true. So you're almost
So,
there.
Yeah.
like end of April. I can count. Middle, end of April.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't count on it till the beginning of May, just
Yeah.
Just
to give it enough time and to make sure we have a tap line here, things like that. But, we're going to be getting some info out about it. We're really excited about using their malt and kind of sourcing some things locally. And I want to try to do at least a couple beers every year with their stuff. It's tough both from a production standpoint on their end and a price standpoint that to incorporate them into all of our flagship beers. But to do a couple seasonals with their stuff is definitely within the realm.
That was actually going to be my next question, if it was going to be seasonal or if you were going to continuously use it.
Yeah, we're going to add it in to some seasonals. And I wanted to start off really with a malt forward, highlight the malt, because that's the real unique ingredient here. And also highlight the lager brewing, which is something that is very Pennsylvania. You look around the Northeast and even the West Coast, everybody's brewing ales, all ales. And you're starting to see a few more breweries embrace lagers, but it's the kind of thing that Pennsylvania's been doing for 150 years.
Yeah.
The first lager in the United States was brewed in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So lager brewing is big in PA. All of the big
Especially
name,
given the German heritage of the area.
the big name PA craft brewers are doing lagers, have been doing lagers. So I wanted to brew a lager, stay true to that, highlight their malt, and use local ingredients.
Awesome.
That's cool. That should hopefully go over pretty well, especially, like you said, given the area. So early May-ish, and that'll be on your website?
Yeah, we'll definitely have it on our Facebook page.
Okay.
Our website's a little behind at the moment, but we're getting there.
Okay.
And speaking of Deer Creek Malt House, just to chime in here real quick and
Plug.
plug ourselves, we will actually be filming a video at Deer Creek Malt House sometime in the near future. I have to look at the calendar to see exactly when. So
Mid-April.
in mid-April. Thank you, Steph.
There you go.
I'm
yeah,
sorry, what website will that be on?
That will be on beerbusterspodcast.com.
Maybe that should be the drinking
Take a
game this
sip.
time.
yeah. But yeah, it's awesome to see
we'll be-
a local maltster.
We'll be there for a visit. We've spoken with them a lot about their process, and so
Right.
we'll be out visiting within the next week or two.
Awesome. And that's
we wanted
something
to wait till it was warmer to go visit.
But, and also because it's not like a brewery that the public can just kind of go and tour and see the facility.
Right.
So to get in there with a camera,
we'll bring it to you
and film it. Yeah, so you can check it out. So that should be pretty awesome. And then you can come to Golden Avalanche, or you can watch it on your phone while you're drinking.
That's right.
There
At
you go.
Golden Avalanche, of course.
Yep.
It's all coming together.
We have Wi-Fi.
You do. That's
have
true.
Wi-Fi.
Speaking of upcoming beers, you guys recently did a bottle release for your anniversary beer. Are you planning on having any other bottle releases in the near/distant future?
I don't know about the near future, but yes, the general plan. It's something I'd like to do quarterly. We got really good response for the first 15. It sold out, and it's very well received. We're getting good check-ins and things like that, and there was good interest generated for the bottle release. So I want to try to do it quarterly. I still have 50-some cases of 22-ounce bottles, screen-printed, beautiful 22-ounce bottles
They
downstairs.
are quite nice.
I saw one sitting around back there.
They're pretty neat. That was one of these finds that you come into a brewery that's been operating for 15 years with 5 different head brewers, and somewhere along the way, somebody bought 70-some cases of bottles that are fantastic and never got used. So we're trying to use them.
And while people are coming to buy bottles, you guys have some new merchandise too.
Yeah, we're currently in design phase and printing phase. We don't have it for sale yet, but we're working on getting some new T-shirts, hats, ladies cut T-shirts, etc. To expand our brand a little bit and get shirts on people's backs.
Do you guys currently sell any merchandise?
A little bit.
Okay.
We have our server shirts that all our servers are wearing. We do have some of those for sale. It's not something that we've really pushed in a long time. When the brewery first opened, they did a run of all kinds of stuff, mostly branded toward older men who enjoy golf.
Oh, okay.
So we had a lot of golf vests and windbreakers and things like
I
that.
think you should totally bring all that stuff.
Well,
that would be awesome.
That was another.
I have a pretty rocking polo. That's
You
like-
do.
That was one
I
of
think
those.
you were wearing that at Breworia, weren't
I
you?
was, yeah.
that we found in the basement or in our company van. We found a crate of old merchandise, including a long
brand new
sleeve,
15-year-old.
unworn, brand new, but not new,
Yeah.
and including a denim long sleeve shirt with our logo embroidered on it
Nice.
that we've convinced one of our friends to wear when he helps us at festivals.
That's
That's awesome.
That is wildly early 2000s in
Oh, yeah.
fashion. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
It's retro.
So we're updating it. We're doing some kind of softer print stuff and expanding a little bit just to get, reach out. People are looking for merchandise. People want to buy T-shirts.
I was gonna
So
say, I
let's
imagine
have them.
you've had people ask about
Yep.
it, yeah, because
Yep.
it's the kind of place you're like, why don't you have T-shirts?
Yeah,
I want a T-shirt.
And really, with my experience with the whole Team Peggy thing, people want to buy
Yeah,
cool T-shirts.
yeah. And if you want, no, I'm
I
not
was
gonna do another
about
plug.
to.
I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna be a whore.
Do it.
So another thing new here is this Orca system. I know we posted a little
Yeah.
article on our website about it recently, fairly recently, which has to do with recycling waste. If you explain exactly what that is.
It's basically an accelerated aerobic food digester that takes all of our kitchen scrap, food waste, table scrap, things like that, and breaks it down into wastewater. And it's actually broken down on a microbial level. So the wastewater is much less potent than, for example, just running it through a garbage disposal.
Right.
Because a garbage disposal just chops the food up and flushes it. But the Orca has a standing colony of microbes that break it down on a cellular level and literally digest the food.
Right.
So the wastewater is about as potent as a toilet.
Right. Right.
So it's not putting a whole lot of extra stress on our wastewater system, but at the same time, it's taking a lot of bags out of our dumpster.
yeah.
That's a lot of stuff that, sure, it would break down in the landfill, but now we're not even shipping it to the landfill.
Right.
It's taking those trucks off the street, so it's less trips. We're working on getting our service to pick up less times,
Right.
and so we're you absolutely notice it when we notice how much less we're putting in the dumpster now than we had been before.
And that's you can like, is there like a limit to the capacity? Like I imagine you generate a decent amount of food waste and such in a place like this. And
Yeah, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but one of the things when they like fit you for a system is they monitor and literally weigh out every day for a week, and so see how much you make in a week, how much waste. And I think ours can digest basically 25 pounds an hour.
Whoa.
Roughly. I mean,
Right.
it's not fully digested in an hour, but it can handle that influx.
Right,
So,
right.
The only thing we've run into in terms of like feeding it that's gotten a little tough is that you need to stage. If you have like a really heavy time, like wing night, when we're making it digests chicken bones. So it does great.
Yeah, it does bones as well. Yeah.
And so on wing night, when you have a whole lot of wings coming back, wing bones coming back to go in, you need to sort of stage it, and then as you're closing down, feed it
in
incrementally rather
Right.
than all at once.
Right.
If you do it all at once, it tends to kind of overload and it works a lot slower.
Right.
Yep.
It's the precursor to Mr. Fusion.
Yes. So it'll be generating nuclear power, and that works. All the food waste, like any organic waste, so like waste, like spent grains and stuff,
Yep.
you can throw in there.
We
and-
can do spent grains. We haven't yet,
Okay.
or haven't done much with it.
Right.
But the only thing that gets, they advise against coffee grounds
Okay.
because of particle size.
Okay.
That can kind of clog things up because they're very, very fine ground. And they also advise against hard bones, like pork bones, beef bones,
Oh, okay.
just because of the density.
Right.
They would take, it'll digest it, but
Eventually.
it'll take like a week instead
Right.
of 24 hours.
Right.
So the way the system's designed, everything that goes in is gone in 24 hours.
Wow.
So
That's pretty cool.
It'd be amazing if more restaurants would install
yeah.
systems like that.
It's pretty neat, and especially in population-dense areas where trash removal and trash hauling is a problem, where you've got a lot of trucks rumbling through and, just getting your trash to the trucks and things like that. This type of system is being installed in big cities and in like athletic stadiums, things like that, where you're just generating literally tons and tons
yeah.
of food waste.
Yeah. So that's a fairly new technology.
Yeah, fairly new. I mean, yes, the technology of doing it in an accelerated fashion,
Right.
like
In
this,
a way that's practical,
yeah.
that works. Yeah.
But basically, it's just breaking it down, which the microbes have been doing for.
So evolution took care of that for a while ago.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. That's
We're definitely the first place in Berks County to have
Right.
one installed, and it's something we're seeing coming around.
Cool.
So.
Yeah, that's a good step to make. It's very very good way of going green. I want to step back a second. You mentioned Team Peggy earlier. Are you still doing Team Peggy stuff?
Yeah, we're actually we're just talking with one of my friends who helps us with running the Team Peggy program and actually runs one of our goats, and we're getting ready for the upcoming race.
Awesome.
I think it's May 3rd this year.
Okay, so it's early May.
Always the first Sunday in May.
not Star Wars Day this year.
Right.
Yes, correct.
And
Right.
it's going to be at the brewery this year, not
yeah,
at the
it's at
pub.
their,
Oh, really?
their Sly Fox's new production facility in Pottstown.
Oh,
So it will not be at the pub for the first time.
Awesome. And you're going to take back the title, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, we had a couple tricks up our sleeve. We're going to step up our game a little bit this year.
Nice.
Steroids.
Yeah. No steroids. No steroids. For me, actually, I will be taking steroids. The goats are fine. I need it.
They don't need it.
It's Peggy and Simon, right?
Simon,
Okay.
yep.
All right.
Yep.
I'm surprised I remembered that. I'm glad I remembered that.
And Simon likes to eat brewing grains.
Really?
I have fed him a fair share of brewing
Yeah.
grains at the few events that I've been to.
Sort
where
of
he
like
was there.
he's his own little orca system.
Yep,
Yeah.
pretty much. Yeah, get an orca system or a goat.
Yeah.
Or a goat.
Maybe that's where they got the idea for the orca system.
Although to match capacity, you would need a lot of goats.
Yeah,
Yeah, or
exactly.
just one really hungry goat. Tom, you're being awfully quiet. This is weird. I did not expect this out of you.
He hasn't had a lot of beer yet.
Drink up, man. Drink up.
Yeah, and a lot of the questions have been directed to me, so I've kind of
It's
stepped
been
in.
like a group thing. I just normally Tom butts his way in anyway.
I'm not really familiar with the fine processes of the
Okay.
orca. So I felt to let Colin handle that.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Are you curious at all how the Orca works? Is that something you're gonna? No. Okay. Sticking with the beer.
Besides the goat race, what other events are coming up for you guys for Golden Avalanche?
Yeah, a couple of the big ones. We've got the PA Flavor Festival, which is coming up on the 25th of April. And that's one of my favorite events of the year. It's a fundraiser for the Brewers of Pennsylvania, which is our state brewers guild. And the Brewers of PA does a lot of lobbying, legislative work, legal advising for the small breweries in the state. And it's also a beer and food coupled event, which is pretty neat. It's not explicitly paired, but there are a lot of food producers. There's restaurants. There's the mushroom growers, the allied dairy producers, etc. All have stands at the festival, and you kind of walk around and try all kinds of stuff. Awesome. So that's one of the exciting ones coming up. And if you're very local in the Reading area, the Reading Craft Beer Festival is at the Santander Arena on April 18th.
Yes, definitely check that out.
And the Burke's Homebrew Club will have a stand there.
Yes, we will.
Oh, really cool. That's awesome.
Yep.
Do you know what your selections are going to be?
We're not allowed to serve.
No? Oh.
The Homebrew Club
yeah.
can't serve.
Okay,
Homebrew
yeah.
Club won't be serving, but we will, and I don't know.
Okay.
I usually wait a little bit till we're closer, mostly because our lineup rotates so quickly here that predicting 3 months in advance what fun beer I'll be able to bring to a festival.
Yeah.
Sometimes I haven't even thought of that fun beer 3 months in advance.
How about a firkin of the porter with habaneros?
Of course.
We could do that.
That would be fun for a festival.
Actually, PA Flavor just reached out to me to find out what I'm bringing for their VIP session.
There you go.
Last year I did our session IPA cram sesh with that I primed the firkin with Peeps. So it was kind of a fun novelty thing. It was springtime when we were doing it, and so that was my VIP beer last year. So smoked porter firkin might work.
Although I'd prefer if you did it for Reading because I'll actually be at
because you'll
that
be
event.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of the smoked porter,
indeed,
I think it's time that we
officially start drinking beer.
That sounds
Because you
good.
can unofficially drink beer?
Of course.
Okay. Apparently. So we mentioned sort of earlier that officially our first beer is the house smoked porter, not with habaneros or any kind of pepper. But this one, it is, oh God, it's such a good beer. It's so
It is
great.
really good.
Speaking of that, Steph passed the pitcher.
Can I top
Tom
my
already
glass
drank
off
through
first?
his sample.
Yeah.
He was
you
too
can-
busy drinking instead
had a
of
few
talking.
of our sample glasses.
Don't forget, Steph, we have to get up early tomorrow.
Yeah.
This is 5-7, so you're okay. So, Tom, why don't you tell us a little bit about this beer we have in front of us?
The smoked porter, we inherited a couple. That's right, I'm going there. I hope Moose is listening. The previous head brewer had this big plan of brewing a smoked porter, and he just never really got to it or put it on the back burner. So we had 2.5 bags of smoked malt sitting around.
Well, what else do you really do with that?
Yeah, so it was just like, well, I guess we're going to brew a smoked porter. Okay, Colin lipped something, and now he's walking out the room.
I can imagine this beer would have gone really well with that brisket I had
Yeah,
earlier.
it would have been perfect with that brisket.
I guess I just need to have another sandwich.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
tasting notes actually say check the house smoked section on the menu.
Oh, wow.
here.
Oh, yeah.
So they do.
That's where we got the name from. Is it's like house smoked
House
because
smoked.
we smoke all of our own meats in house.
Wow, I totally missed that. Cool.
Over the head.
Right over my head.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is very good. I like that the smokiness isn't overpowering it, which it says in the tasting notes, and it's very true. It's nice and subtle, and it's just
Yeah,
sort
it's
of- it's a
just-
comforting.
yeah,
smokiness.
this isn't a one and done with it. You're more than
Right.
happy to have a couple of these.
Yeah.
Speaking of
absolutely.
which, can I have that picture?
Yes.
Now, if not one and done to drink, but this is not one and done brewed. Also, is you guys going to brew this again? Please tell me, please.
We can.
Please.
We can.
It would be a great
Colin.
house beer. I mean, you're calling it house smoked, so it could be your house smoked beer. Just saying.
It could be our house smoked beer, but we do always have 5 flagships on.
Which
You can have 6 or get rid of one.
What are the flagships?
We have our blonde lager, which is just an easy drinking pilsner. Our Young Allen's Lager, which is a little bit more of a Vienna style. 2 leave, 1 come back.
Podcast has become a revolving door.
Yes. But our Young Allen's Lager is just a Vienna style lager that Colin and I have been tweaking with over the last couple months, trying to get it more in line with the Vienna style. We have our Hop Hat IPA, which is a flagship that we added on. We killed our alt beer, which hasn't really been trendy for a while.
Yeah.
Like, the beer's name is old. We also have our Donnerweiss, our wheat beer. Onyx Cream Stout. I couldn't believe I forgot that one.
I don't think I've ever had the Onyx, and I meant to get some at Brewforia, but I just forgot.
I had the
Well, we can
Onyx-
always add it to the tasting.
You guys had
segment.
that at
Yes.
Pints for Pups, not this past year, but the year before, I believe. Yeah, I had it there. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, that year we had the Onyx, and we had a collaboration that we did with Neshaminy Creek.
That's right. Yes.
Any other collaborations
Sorry,
coming
what
up?
did I miss?
Nothing.
Just coming back.
Okay.
Tom was trying to remember all your flagship beers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Collaborations. Actually, we're working on a couple interesting things.
Boobies Brewery.
A couple projects we haven't. We
They don't know
aren't
anything about that
fully
yet.
formed yet, but the base ideas are laid for a couple things. So keep an eye out. I mean, I can't disclose
course,
specifics
yeah.
yet.
I know a certain podcast team that has done a few collaborations,
Oh,
and
yeah?
we really enjoy it. Or they really enjoy it.
Who are
so.
itching to do something without peppers for a change.
Yes, we could
Yeah,
do
you should get in touch with the people
peppers.
over at the Brewers Podcast Network.
Failing that,
So-
however.
Yeah. So
We could do a
Will we be
smoked
available?
beer
No peppers.
with no peppers.
we could do a
can-
pepper firkin. Then.
It's been recorded. It's official now. No
Whatever.
peppers.
Whatever. I'm rolling my eyes.
that doesn't
Next to the
translate
no
very well
hashtags.
over
You should
audio.
know that.
That's why I said it.
Yes, well.
What would you two like to brew? There's a question.
Beer.
Okay.
See, and now you wonder why I take over.
yeah. We want beer. Okay.
You know, in 2 years, I've learned very little about beer.
Yeah. I'd actually like to brew like a porter or a stout, like a darker maltier kind of.
I think I'd actually want to brew a lager.
No.
Ooh, that'd be
That'd be
fun.
interesting.
I want to
yeah.
do a Hefeweizen that is a German Hefeweizen, not a citrusy
Adhering
American
to the
wheat.
Reinheitsgebot.
I want one that's cloudy and full of clove and banana and a huge head, and that's what I want to brew. I've yet to
Well,
find
and this
one.
would be the brewery to do it at, given
yeah.
its
Yeah.
location.
Challenge accepted.
We do a lot of very German styles, and
All right, I like the sound of that. I also like the sound of going to the next beer because my glass is now empty. So, Colin, what were you pouring while Tom was trying to remember your flagship beers?
this is our Sunbonnet
Oh.
Citra, which is actually
Holy crap! This smells amazing.
Oh,
which is actually not released yet. So we have a special VIP.
We're gonna
Okay.
put that.
Does that
quote
mean
on,
I
we're gonna
ha-
put that quote on the website?
Does that mean I get to add it
Yeah, you would
to Untapped?
have to add it to Untapped.
Do you
so
have
it is not
score?
on there.
you
yet.
get like a weird pleasure out of doing that. I could just every time. Oh, I've got it untapped. Your eyes are
When
like
we went
owl
to
eyes.
Boobies on Wednesday, I actually raced Kevin Keller to be the first person to add habanero. He was trying to add it, but he couldn't find IPA which IPA is not a style choice on Untapped.
Really?
It is not a style choice. It blew my mind. But so I was like, I'm going to beat you. And sorry. Yes, I do get strange pleasure.
Out of being first at whatever it is that you're
Yes,
doing.
I am very competitive.
Yeah.
You know that. You've
No,
known
so-
me for all but 1.5 months of my life.
Yeah, absolutely true. Yeah.
Steph is the oldest out of us.
So this is
Grandma.
a. There you go, Tom. This is a hoppy pale ale. It's sort of. Oh boy, session-ish.
Oh, you better
Right
watch it.
around- I know,
You better
I know.
watch it. You should have
I'm
lied
sure-
with those
what
numbers, boy.
0.1% too far.
I'm sure Lou Bryson
Lou.
is listening and going to keep me in line here.
Although by Dan's standards, it could be up to like 20, and it's still
Yeah.
sessionable.
So
As long as it's not
this is
Scotch.
a very, very hoppy American pale ale. Fairly, I don't know, bright. It really showcases the Citra hop.
Oh,
So
yeah.
this isn't
The
single
aroma
hop, though.
is
It's-
amazing.
Almost
Almost
single hop.
Almost.
Yeah, it's mostly Citra. We kind of stumbled upon some Citra hops, which we had trouble getting before, and we're incorporating it a little bit as we evolve our Hop Hat IPA recipe. And we wanted to do something, though, that was just like...
We have Citra.
Yeah,
Here it is.
and it's a little bit of a one-trick pony, but it's pretty good.
It is really good, it's very easy drinking. It's not
it's
too
way
harsh.
more refreshing
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
drinkable than you would think from smelling it.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
get the aroma that you want when you hear that it's has
And you
Citra
get-
in it, but
Yeah,
then
you do.
The fruity
Oh, wow.
citrus
The
characters,
tropical
but without
citrus.
the acidic citrus bite, really. It's really, the edge is smoothed off. It's really good.
I like it a lot.
So I like it. I think it'll go over very well
Like
as
it.
kind of a springtime beer where, we're always looking to keep our seasonally appropriate.
Right.
And also the naming thing is kind of a fun, things we're playing around with, trying to get some of the staff involved in naming the beers. And we've kind of stumbled onto this like hat-themed name
Just sort of happened.
scheme. Yeah, it I don't know. It happened one day when we started with Hop Hat, and then we kind of
and hop helmet.
riffed off of that to Hop Helmet,
Helmet,
and then Santa's Nightcap, which was our winter Christmassy spiced thinger. And so Sunbonnet Citra kind of,
It's delicious.
have a, we're not bottling it, but I have a bottle label in my head for it.
Nice.
So, in your tenure now back at Golden Avalanche as head brewer, what has this journey been like? And I mean, you've been coming out with all these great new creative beers.
Yeah.
And how has that experience been, having full control?
It's been a lot of fun. I'm coming up on my 1-year anniversary. That's
Yay!
actually, as of recording, it's next Tuesday, but that'll be in the past. Whatever. It's St. Patrick's Day.
Yay!
Actually, it was my first day here.
Oh, that's my anniversary at my radio station.
There you go.
Hey.
It works.
Hey, that's a
That's a lot of
That's
yays.
That's St. Patty's Day. I've
Patrick's
gotten
Day.
drunk on that.
Yay! Well, yes, I'm sure I will be celebrating multiple things. But, so we're coming up on my 1-year anniversary. So we're now at the point where I'm looking at like rebrewing seasonals and kind of deciding what gets a rebrew and what, we'll leave at the one-off and maybe look at again sometime. So we're coming up with a brew schedule, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been a great experience. They've really, quite literally given me the keys to the brewery and
said,
like,
do whatever.
hey, do whatever. So
And you stumbled across a bunch of bottles. You stumbled across some smoked malt.
yeah, it's been fun working with what we've got here. And they bought when they built this place almost 16 years ago now. They really built it well. They got a really good German system in, and it's certainly has its quirks. Everything's metric for one, which
That was a little
Well,
bit
at
of
least
adjusting, too.
everything's metric
yeah.
and not like half of it
Yeah,
half
that's right.
superior.
Right.
no sourcing replacement parts is a little bit of a chore. That's the one thing that gets frustrating. But so the equipment's been doing great for me. We've got a lot of we've got the capacity to do a lot more beer, a lot more brewing, and we've gotten a really great response from regulars. People who have been coming here for years will pull me aside and say, "Hey, I'm really excited to see this beer you did," or "Oh, I hope you brew such and such again that I brewed this past summer." And and it's been very rewarding in that respect that people are noticing, some of the new
responding,
beers and people responding well, and it's been fun.
Pretty awesome. Speaking of the system, what size is the system here?
We brew on a 10 hectoliter system.
I was gonna say it's in
So for
hectoliters.
those of you who do not operate in the metric system, that's 8.522 barrels.
Okay.
And of course, a barrel is 31 gallons.
Which is how many liters?
10
right
hectoliters.
around 60.
Were you not paying attention?
So we actually have a mixture of kegs downstairs that are both some are 50-liter kegs and some are half barrels.
Right.
So a half barrel is about 60 liters. So I guess a full barrel would be 120.
Right.
So it's all metric, and that's a little. It took a little getting used to.
Yeah.
But it's actually easier
It
once
is
you get
once
used
you
to
get
it.
used to it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely easier, except that all my taxes are in barrels.
So that's a lot of.
So
well, and as far as
I operate in kilograms and liters at this point in the brewery, but
right.
then when I go to pay tax on the stuff I've made.
If you've got to
I gotta
convert,
back to
right?
barrels.
Well, has that posed any problems for you, like recipes, like ideas that you may have come in with, and like, oh, well, I have to now do all these conversions? Or
Not really, because
it's
a
close
lot of
enough.
times I operate in percentages,
Right. Okay.
and that works
So it's
whether
all
you're in
ratios
pounds or
regardless.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
It's more fun when you have to adjust the poundage of hops because the alpha acid
Yep.
you were expecting is not what is
Right.
on the box
Box.
when they
Yep.
come. But that's a pretty easy conversion.
Yeah.
Math.
Yeah.
That's why you have your cell phone, right?
Yeah, well, I don't currently, but I was a math major in college, so
There you go.
So you got your calculator right here.
yeah.
I learned the ABV
pointed at their
calculation. The
Thank
you, Tom.
Thank you, narrator.
we do
For the
this all the
vision
time,
impaired.
and we forget that people can't see us. If our guest has right, you know, people can't see you doing that, right?
Are you going to tell them about the calculation you learned?
Yeah, the what was it? Original gravity minus final gravity times 131 for the
Yes.
ABV, which is pretty simple, actually.
Wasn't there a 4 somewhere?
No, that was the conversion of from
It's on the golf course.
you multiplied by 4 to convert the gravity reading from one unit to another.
Plato to
Plato
SG.
to
Plato.
yes.
Yes.
Plato?
Yes.
No, PLATO,
Yeah. Like,
not PLAY.
no,
Dio.
like Plato and Socrates.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. That's what I thought. Jerk.
I'm sorry. You were referencing classic Greek culture, and I was referencing children's toys. I apologize.
Of course.
Neither
wrong
of
with
which
you?
have to do with taking a gravity reading.
This is how our brains operate. Yep. Well, on that note, I feel like now that we have a little bit of booze inside of us, we should play a game. Wayne, 1, 2, or 3.
What? I'm sorry.
1, 2, or 3.
Am I supposed to do something here?
You're
Pick a
supposed to
number.
pick 1, 2, or 3.
something
See,
supposed to
Tom
happen?
gets it.
3.
3. All right.
Go 2 just because this is fight 'em.
Yes, it's that time again. Happy Funtime games may rupture and cause injury if overpressurized with compressed air or CO2. Fermentertainment system and pressurized beer education regulator should each be equipped with a pressure relief blow-off device. If you are not familiar with Happy Funtime equipment, consult your retailer or local beer distributor.
Can we operate this equipment
Bazinga.
while intoxicated?
Possibly.
No
Okay.
squids were harmed in the making of this.
No squids were harmed in the making of this game. This is a brand new game
Ooh.
that I have
Whoa.
just created, and it may or may not work. We'll see. But it is another teamwork game because teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah.
This is called, quite simply, the drinking game. So the way this is going to work.
I win.
Cheers.
No, you know, that's not actually how it works. Speaking of which, could the Citra make its way back over here then? So anyway, the way this is going to work is you guys are going to play in teams. Obviously, Team Golden Avalanche with Colin and Tom over here, and on the other side of the table, my fellow beer busters on Team Beer Buster.
That's right.
Dan and Steph, the voice and the brewologist. I didn't come up with any clever nicknames for Colin and Tom. I'm sorry.
Tom Collins.
Tom Collins, Team Tom Collins. So this is how this is going to work. I am going to give you guys 2 beers, okay, and then to one of you on each team. No, not physical beers. The names of 2 beers, and you're going to
I
pick
quit.
Rage quit?
which one of those beers you would choose if you had to pick one of those beers to drink.
Okay.
And then your teammate
Sounds
is going to
easy.
try and guess what beer
Oh my God, this is the dating
you
game?
chose. That's why it's called
the
drinking game. Get
Oh,
it?
that's why we need to write.
That's
Are
why
you going to
need
give
to
us
write.
paper?
You can just write on your papers you have in front of you. It's
Okay.
not a big
Yep.
deal. So first, these are the beers are for Steph and Colin. So Tom and Dan, you're going to have to try and figure out what beers they're going to pick. So Steph and Colin, your beers are Saison du Fermier from Side Project Brewing. It's a Saison. It's a Chardonnay barrel fermented Saison that uses a house blend of Brett and bacteria. Spent 3 months in oak and then 3 months bottle conditioning as bright citrus, billowy mouthfeel, classic funk round out the flavor profile of this rustic Saison. Got that one?
Yep.
Okay. The next one is called Fuzzy by Side Project Brewing as well. This is a wild ale. It's a blonde American wild ale that was fermented and aged in Chardonnay barrels with Missouri-grown white peaches. Cocktail for fermentation includes both spontaneously captured yeast and bacteria from the
fermentation?
for the family's farm and their house wild blend. So 2 beers, sort of similar. Second one with peaches.
And both is not an option.
Both is not an option.
Okay.
This is if someone put a gun to your head.
Okay. I already got it.
All right.
You don't
So
need to put a gun to my head.
all right. So Tom and Dan, you got those?
Yes.
You know which one? Okay, Dan, what beer do you think Steph chose?
I'm going to go with the first one, the Saison.
The Saison?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, and you are absolutely correct. So you guys get a point. And Tom?
I'm also going to go with the first one.
And Colin, did you choose the first one?
That's correct.
Ooh.
You chose the first one. All
Poor
right.
Fuzzy.
So far, we know each other pretty well. So a point apiece for both of you guys. Okay, so this next one is for Dan and Tom. These are your two beers. The first beer for you to choose from is called Double Shot, and it's by Treehouse Brewing Company. This is a stout. It's a rich, decadent coffee stout. It's got cocoa flavors open up to reveal a richly complex treat. Flavors of chocolate cake, coffee candy, milk chocolate, heaps of vanilla, pungent and distinct coffee stout for sure. Rich, sweet, and less roasty base beer contributes to the ideal backdrop to this bold and vibrant treat for the coffee and beer lover alike. Your second choice is Regular Coffee by Carton Brewing Company over in New Jersey. It's an homage to Jersey's breakfast beverage called Regular Coffee. They teamed up with Fair Mountain Coffee Roasters looking for an elevated version of the classic crappy coffee. Chose Mexican Chiapas for its bitterness akin to artichoke, along with Ethiopian Sidamo for its pleasant lemon-like acidity. Added it to a high-gravity golden cream ale. So that's a coffee stout and a coffee cream ale, double shot and regular coffee. So, Steph.
First one.
You say Dan chose the first one. Dan?
Double shot.
You chose the first one. Bing, 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 bing. And finally, Colin, what beer do you think Tom chose?
I think Tom also chose the double shot.
I did. Oh, Tom also
Hey.
chose the double shot. Look at that.
Tom
So,
likes both coffee and stouts.
yeah.
Me
There
too.
you go.
That- We should do a coffee stout.
There you
There you
go.
go.
There you go. All right. Well, that was that's all we got for
Baltic
that game. That was
Porter.
sort of a little experiment just to
Baltic
see how it
Porter.
would go. So
Yes.
We need a
Wait, that's
tiebreaker.
it?
that's it.
I
I'm
want to
sorry.
play again.
I'm sorry.
Here, just choose random beers on Untapped.
Actually, I would like to mention how I got these beers, how I decided what beers to pick. I actually went on Rate Beer, and you can look at their highest rated beers by style, and I just sort of picked styles, and so that was kind of fun.
That was fun. I want to keep playing.
I'm sorry, that's all I got for you. I'm a busy
So it
man.
was a tie.
Good
So it's a
job.
tie.
Everyone wins.
Everyone wins.
Yay.
Everyone wins.
Gold star.
Everyone loses.
Everyone loses.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at
For
it.
being the same.
Yes. Okay, so since everyone's a winner.
Participation ribbons.
Yes. Since everyone is apparently a winner.
Your beers. No. Know your beers.
Steph, what do we have?
I want to say that the guys are like rage quitting. They don't want to sit here and hear my know
It's
your beers.
because it was a tie in the game.
He's going to
Yep,
pour
we're
beer.
we're upset about that.
You're getting beer? Okay.
No, I'm
it's
sending
okay.
Tom out for beer.
Okay. It better be that. So a friend of mine and fellow homebrewer, Greg, recently lent me a copy of his book, Sacred and Herbal Healing Beers by Stephen Howard Berner. In Chapter 8 of the book, Berner discusses beers and ales from sacred and medicinal trees, which I found quite interesting. And I learned some things about juniper beers. Juniper beer is traditionally brewed in Norway, Finland, and Sweden, though not nearly as common as it once was. Juniper extract, which is a concentrated tea made from juniper branches and berries, has long been used for washing and cleaning, representing a deep and long-standing knowledge of its antiseptic properties. The aromatic properties of juniper plants have been used against black magic, plague, and various negative influences in many cultures. Need to burn some in this room right now. Often the juniper needles or branches are burned. Many cultures believe this keeps negative influences from traveling through the air. Juniper is the most ancient herb used in traditional beer making in Norway, Finland, and Sweden. Its antiseptic or preserving properties predate the use of hops. Today, hops are used along with juniper. During the mashing process, juniper extract was sometimes used instead of just water. Water would be boiled with a quantity of juniper branches determined by the brewer, depending on the desired strength. The mash would take place anywhere from 1 hour to several days, usually in a barrel covered with blankets. The spent grain was transferred to another barrel on top of cross-hatching layers of straw and juniper branches. The wort was saved and added to more hot juniper extract, then poured slowly over the mash in the barrel, acting like a strainer while adding fresh flavor and deeper color. Sometimes the wort was boiled again, this time with hops, and poured once more over the mash. If this was the case, the wort needed to be strained again, and sometimes through a strainer basket made from long braided strands of women's hair. The final wort was then placed into a fermenter and allowed to cool. Yeast was added and the wort fermented. One interesting thing I learned doing my research is that juniper berries are not really berries at all, but rather fleshy cone scales. Doctors recommend chewing them while treating epidemic infections as an antiseptic barrier because of their antiviral, antibiotic, and antifungal properties. Also, juniper berries contain up to 30% dextrose, an easily fermentable sugar. This could be a reason why juniper branches and berries were used so much in brewing. Some modern commercial examples of beers brewed with juniper include Rogue's Juniper Pale Ale, Sam Adams Juniper IPA, Magic Hat's Juniper Rye, and Columbia Kettle Works did a Juniper Ale. So there you go. Perhaps we could do a Beer Busters Golden Avalanche Juniper beer to get rid of all the negative vibes.
I think Steph's mad at you, Tom. I think you're getting the stink eye.
Why would Steph be mad? I don't know.
I'm never mad at you. I can never be mad at
So
Tom.
juniper berries are not actually berries.
No, they're fleshy cone scales.
No, the thing that I'm stuck on is...
Oh, wait, first of all,
awful.
I call dibs on the band name. Fleshy cone scales.
Okay.
Trademark.
I want to try straining my beer through my hair.
Through your hair?
Now,
That's
why is it
interesting.
women's hair, not anybody's long hair?
Specifically women.
It specifically said
Because there's
women's.
too much bad juju in men's hair, I guess. But
Perhaps.
Did you mention in there, I don't think you did, like the flavor of juniper? Like what sort of...
No, and that was not something that was mentioned in the book. But I have had, I believe, a juniper IPA, and it was quite delicious, and it brought a very herbal, earthy flavor to the mix, not a berry flavor.
And you mentioned that it was originally used in place of hops, or at least predating hops.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's any modern commercial examples that do that don't use hops, that use juniper.
Well, there are very
exclusively.
few. I know the only brewery that I know that's even brewed a beer without hops was Prism did a beer without hops. I don't know.
Doesn't Alaska Brewing do something without hops?
There have been a number of places that have tried to like reconstruct or recreate like Gruit style herbal ales. But I think there's actually a legal definition requiring some amount of hops.
Right, to call it beer.
To call it beer, yeah.
Otherwise
So
it would
there's something about that. But
interesting.
Yeah.
Because I actually be really interested to try, beers that are made with things that were either substituted for hops or things that were used before hops, were really used in the brewing process. I've always been kind of interested in seeing what
that's been one of the interesting historical recreation things, the idea of Gruit and the specific spice blend and or herb blend and getting that right and getting it to taste
palatable.
Good, palatable.
Yeah. Interesting. So use juniper, and you can also fend off the evil spirits.
All right.
I like the evil spirits.
But then Steph would have to go away.
Really?
Aww.
That's
Really?
not nice.
Really?
That was funny.
Really?
Let's just all...
Really?
You got a smirk on. You're holding back a smirk, actually.
There's your smirk.
The audience can't see that.
I feel like
narrator
it
is telling them.
translates.
Yeah.
It translates through. Well, let's drink away that negativity.
Beer me! Beer me! Beer me! Beer me!
So Tom has entered the room with 2 pitchers for our next
Full
beers.
of beer.
I
Full of
assume
beer.
we're doing the lighter one first.
Yeah, I would imagine.
All
I was
right.
gonna say, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure I can tell
Does
which
everyone
one.
have 2 glasses?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We
I
might
just
as well
wanted
do
to
them, pour it as a side by side.
Ooh, all right. So while the pitchers are making their way around, what do we have?
This is our the first one is our Triple Crown, which is a Belgian style triple, made in the monastic tradition, brewed with European malt, Belgian candy sugar, noble hops, and most importantly, the wonderfully expressive yeast. It's one of the biggest beers we've ever made, so drink responsibly. And so that was our Triple Crown. So I brewed a double batch of that. So we had lots and lots of Belgian triple, and I'm a big fan of Belgian triples, but I wanted to play around with some of it, and so coming out of that was our Jackpot Cherry Triple, which is Triple Crown matured with Montmorency tart cherry juice. And the Montmorency cherries are the kind of standard sour or tart pie cherry. So it's kind of got a cherry pie with a kick kind of thing going on.
My cherry pie.
You beat me.
Yes.
Looks so good. Stop before we get a lawsuit.
Yes, exactly.
So the Triple Crown.
It's 7 notes. Come on, guys.
Yeah. 7 notes. Was the beer you guys had at Brewforia, or one of the beers you had there?
Actually, we pulled that keg off the fermenter. So, like, timing-wise, that was, like, just barely ready.
Right.
And so now we're kind of down the line.
And I know you
but
mentioned then that you were going to do the
Yep.
aging on the cherry, so I'm excited to try this.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and actually, it was an idea I had while I was at Weyerbacher, because Weyerbacher has Merry Monks as one of their flagship beers, or kind of their number one flagship beer, and every once in a while we get to sitting around having a pint after work or doing a tasting panel, and when you're even trying to analyze big beers, you get a little goofy. And the idea came up, I think it was my idea, of doing Merry Monks aged on cherries and calling it Cherry Monks. So I thought that would be
like 4 or 5 now.
fantastic.
Yeah. Were you the only one who thought that?
Kind of, yeah. The beer idea caught on, got a little more traction than the name idea.
Yeah, but maybe not call it
It
that.
sells itself. I'd be interested to try that. But these beers so far, they look great. They smell great. I'm anxious for the cherry one.
Well,
I really
the
like
straight,
cherries.
I mean, the triple, just by itself is a very well-made triple, I think. It's really delicious.
Oh, yeah, it
It's
is.
nice, and it's got that sweet and sort of very Belgian-y, yeasty
Yes.
goodness going on.
Yeah, really the yeast does the hard work on this.
It's the yeast.
It really is.
Yeah.
You do a pretty basic, straightforward, clean European base, very tiny bit of hops, and let the yeast do the hard work.
Do its thing, yeah.
I just took a sip of the cherry one. Oh, my God. That is fantastic.
Yeah, and we've gotten awesome traction with the jackpot. We've had that out at a bar or two, and
This is really, really
I haven't tasted
good.
it yet, but it comes out in the aroma there.
And that's almost 10%.
That
Yowza.
I would not put that anywhere near that.
Ooh.
yeah,
Ooh, that is cherry pie. Like that is cherry pie.
It's
cherry.
really got that
that
very cherry
it's
pie.
a little
cherry.
tart, but it's
Yep.
yeah,
Not overly
Yep.
tart.
Kinda-
It's not tart like a sour beer.
not like
Right,
puckery
yeah.
tart.
It's just a little like fruit tart.
Because we all know how I feel about sours, and this is delicious. This is so good.
But the yeast comes back around at the end.
Yeah.
And it finishes like it's a triple. It's a triple.
yeah.
It's almost like the yeast comes back at the end as like the crust on the cherry pie.
Oh,
Yeah, nice. This is really good.
nice.
Yeah.
I mean, the Triple Crown.
Yeah, I like it.
The Triple Crown definitely holds its own, but the cherry, man, that adds another level to it. Ooh.
Most days I'd say that I like the Triple Crown better because I tend to be a little bit of a Belgian beer purist. But at the same time, the jackpot is fantastic.
Yeah, it definitely adds that extra dimension.
Yeah.
Thoughts on doing
Yeah.
it with other fruits?
Yeah, absolutely. It's something we get good response to fruit beers here. We have, ultimately, I hate to say it, as much as I do have the freedom to play around and do whatever I want, we got to sell it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it has
yeah.
to be something that will move. And certain styles move slower, but around here, fruit beers take off very nicely in this crowd. Big beers take off really well. So.
So you did a big fruit beer.
So we did a big, So we did a
not?
big fruit beer,
Combine
and
both,
it's it's really.
Ding 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 ding.
Yeah.
Jackpot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jack. Well, that was also the in our name brainstorming sessions, triple cherry. Like a slot machine.
I just
Ding, ding,
got
ding.
it.
Yeah, that went into when I saw
it
them
makes
page.
a lot more sense
Those
if you
wheels
look at
start
the board.
spinning. Yeah. And also the triple
Duh.
crown, kind of going with our hat naming theme
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
It's sort of
There's
sort
layers.
of there.
What
Yeah.
about
layers
like a
going.
fedora name? You can do fedora somewhere along the way.
How about the douchey fedora
Double
Imperial
IPA.
IPA?
Yeah. Ironic hat man. Yeah, we I don't know. It's the hat thing, like I said, we kind of stumbled onto it, and it's something that I'm big on naming your beers. I want whatever beer I make, I want it to have a name, not just beer style. And so
Even though we're not creative at all.
no, we're not. So having a seed makes it so much easier to find a name, even if that seed is a little bit ridiculous. And now we're like, we could call it like, black IPA that's like black top hat, or like, black top hat, I don't know, something like that. Like things like that we're trying to riff off of this name idea to get the creativity flowing between Tom and I.
You could do a Mexican lager called Sombrero.
Sombrero, yeah.
See, it's
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah, there's lots of things, and I don't know why, but if you look up a lot of these names, they're not taken. So
Really? Nobody went down the hat route.
I guess not. Yeah.
Trying to think, I had black bandana barley wine. Some alliteration going.
We need a palindrome name.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I love elephants.
They got it right away.
See?
I didn't get it.
You mentioned fruit beers selling really well here, and that you know, as much freedom as you have, it has to sell and everything. Do you get, being Kutztown as a college town, do you get a lot of the college crowd here, or is it sort of mixed? I know when we were out in the dining room, it seems like a pretty diverse crowd.
Yeah, so we get a lot of business from the college. Mm-hmm. That's not necessarily to say college students, college kids. It's
all the faculty.
It's mostly faculty. Our Friday happy hour is like packed in elbow to elbow faculty.
It's because they got to deal with the kids, with the college kids.
Yeah, and they have, like the professors take over a corner of the bar, and if you're, I've made the mistake, quote unquote, of sitting there doing some paperwork when their class is let out, and they come here and they say, they make no bones about it. I was the new head brewer at the time, and they made no bones about it that this is where we sit on a Friday afternoon. So I quickly learned and adapted to the system. But we get a lot of people from the college. We get a lot of families. Mm-hmm. Family weekend is one of our biggest weekends of the year. Homecoming, graduation are huge. So we get business from the college.
But it's not like the college kids.
It's not a ton of students hanging out here. We get a lot of students for wing night. But Friday night, the students tend to party later than we're open.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, too. I know when I was in college, a lot of people I would hang out with on a Friday night, they weren't thinking craft beer.
Yeah.
they were thinking natty ice and beer pong.
That is starting to change, though. I mean, this is my
just
old
good
man
age.
kids these days moment. But kids these days are growing up with craft beer.
Yeah,
And
I'm actually
their
pretty jealous
first-
of that.
Their first experience with beer is more often at least involving craft beer or the choice of craft beer.
Right.
And as a town, Kutztown is really coming around to that. The K-Town pub right across the street, they've got a great craft beer selection. They've got a great craft beer Friday happy hour, and you walk in and Tom and I did the Friday happy hours around town. We did a little pub crawl a couple weeks back, and you walk in and it's a lot of people drinking craft beer, not just junk,
Not just pounding
light
Keystone or whatever,
pounding light beers. So it's catching on with students, and I don't know that we necessarily need to court the student population here at the tavern, but we certainly get a lot of faculty, staff.
Right.
I mean, Kutztown University is a major employer in the area, and we swing seasonally after graduation. Things drop off, and we kind of find a steady summer eventually, but right after graduation, like the comparison is stark. That I'm standing there on the brew pad, and instead of a steady stream of people walking up the streets are like tumbleweeds.
Ghost town.
So we do a lot of business with the college.
But not
this club room, actually, the college rents it fairly often.
Oh yeah.
For different like faculty events or interviews or guest speakers or things like that.
Do they take any cigars out?
They don't. That's actually that's the owner's like private humidor.
Yeah.
Is it? Wow. For
And-
anybody who's never been in this club room, there's a pretty big humidor on the one side of the room that has all sorts of boxes of foreign goodness of cigars.
It's pretty amazing. I don't smoke cigars, but Tom does, and occasionally I'll catch him in here
Just
drooling over the cigars.
Yeah, I was drooling on them earlier. Yeah. Not on, but at them. I guess.
Really on them.
Yeah,
As he
don't
comes
have a key.
busting
That's
through
like
the
when
door.
you lick
The
the
humidor's
cookies
still
on the
locked,
plate.
so,
Like I
yeah.
licked this, so now you can't eat it.
I like this cigar. It's mine now.
I drooled on this cigar. It's mine now.
So yeah, those are our beers.
Session IPA is not a style on Untapped either.
Well, if you're looking to set up Sunbonnet Citra, it's not. It would be a hoppy American Pale Ale.
Oh. That's right.
Well, then.
I think I say in the notes
4.6.
some people might want to call it a session IPA, but since it's a little bigger than the 4.5% Bryson
Pale
limit,
ale is not an option either.
I don't want to step on loose toes with the moniker.
American pale ale, maybe?
American Pale Ale, I think.
Do you know the IBUs?
I don't. I feel like IBUs is such a worthless calculation, and for most of my beers, I don't calculate it. I don't even think about it because it measures one thing. It's like looking at, if you've got, I don't know, a three-dimensional object, and you make one measurement
on one side.
Right. And that's it. And you said, oh, hey, this table, this measurement is 18 inches. This table is 18 inches. But the table's not. There's so much more to the table. There's aroma. There's flavor.
Not to the table, but.
Not to the table. No.
Well, there might be flavor.
But to a beer, there's aroma, there's flavor, there's the way hops are used that get different aspects of it that you just can't quantify. You can't quantify technique. In IBUs, is this dry hopped? Is it not? Well, they're the exact same IBUs, whether you dry hop or not.
Different, right?
But they're totally different beers.
Yeah. And I think that comes out of the sort of the trendiness of IPAs and the hops and hops heads and hop this, not hop heads, the guys hop heads. Those are cool. No offense to you guys, but that whole thing, and it's just a number that these people can quote.
Yeah, and it's a few years back, and again, my old manness coming out. A few years back, there was a lot of like arms race with IPAs and double IPAs and triple IPAs and whatever. The bigger IBU number you could put on there, and it's kind of a crap calculation because
my IBUs are bigger than yours.
You can use different equations to calculate your IBUs, and then you send it off to a lab, and they give you a number that's nothing like either set of calculations.
Right,
and so it's something like over 110 IBUs, your palate can't distinguish the difference anyway.
Yeah, I've heard numbers between like 90 and 110 for like the absolute palate threshold that you can't taste. You can't taste differences.
Right.
So, IBUs is such a, in my mind at least, and I've gotten some similar feedback from a number of other brewers that it's a almost worthless calculation. It's not worthless, but
it's certainly not the end all be all.
Yeah,
of
it really isn't.
character.
And there's so much more to hops than IBUs.
Yeah.
If you want to just crank in bitterness, you can certainly do that.
Mm-hmm.
And you can have a great IBU number. The
you
IBUs
could piss in a bottle and say that's 200 IBU.
Yeah, the IBUs are perfect on this. Well, the IBUs as a number might be, but there's so much more to the rest of hopping and hop schedules and protocols and things like that. Yeah. Anyway, so rant off.
Hashtag tangent.
No hashtags.
Oh no, we've been schooled.
Yeah. So anyway, that's one of my minor brewers rants. But
yeah. Oh, it's a very good point though, and I mean it really doesn't mean a whole lot.
Yeah, I used to pay attention to IBUs, and then if you hand me an IPA, I know it's bitter or not, or one's more bitter than the other. I don't care about a number.
And bitter doesn't necessarily mean hops.
No, exactly. Yeah, there's other things that will contribute to it. It's just if you want to make a super bitter IPA, do it.
And tea.
Right.
Yeah.
That we know of.
Well, you could make a hop tea.
You could. And that's a great way to do sensory analysis training. Have I mentioned this triple is really good?
It is really good.
This with the cherries?
It's good with
and
the cherries.
It's
good without the
really
cherries.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's making me think of like banana splits.
Yeah. Expensive to make, but good. And I really liked it. And I liked the supplier we used for it and blah, blah, blah.
How much cherry juice did you use?
5 gallons and 8 hectoliters. Isn't that it?
Yeah, but
mixing units now.
But it was
well,
I can't comprehend.
You order what they have, and
So it was.
Order my gallons in our.
They recommended 2%, for like 1 to 2% for normal fruit beer. If you're working with a sour or wanted to like accentuate the tartness, use more like 4%. So we ended up at like 2. And it's a slightly concentrated for shipping, so it's not.
So must add beer.
Yeah.
Add beer to activate.
Yeah, and they've done a lot of stuff with. This was like we got a postcard in the mail, and I was like, hey, this looks like a good supplier. Let's use it and let's try it. And as I poke around a little bit more and talk to other brewers, a lot of breweries have used these guys, and they make some good fruit products. And but we might be doing some fun fruit stuff coming up.
No, that is not smoked porter. That is a different beer.
Oh, is that the
It's a Scottish
ale?
Wait, there's a surprise addition to the tasting segment.
Oh. It has neither a name nor real tasting notes.
Ooh, so we get to make all of it.
It has
Wait,
neither a name
so I can't add
nor
it
a
to
taste.
Untapped.
No.
No, you cannot.
Damn.
Well, once we
we
make
will-
the
Then I
name,
can't drink it. If I can't shake it in, I can't drink
Why
it.
bother drinking?
We can help you out.
As soon as we figure out a name, we will.
We'll let you know, and you can, after the fact, check it in.
Let's figure out the name right now.
Sure.
It's called
We're not creative.
Shut Up, Tom.
It's a
No.
yeah. It's a Scottish ale. I don't know, 80, 70 shillings maybe. I don't know. It's got a lot of shillings in there.
Scottish Ale dash. I don't know.
What's Scottish for question mark?
Question mark.
There you go.
I don't know what that was.
Slap at the bath.
Yes.
But yeah, so this
Why
is
do you
kind
need
of
3 mirrors? Can't you just turn your head?
we're
That's
trying.
what it should be called.
Turn your head,
Will
Scottish
that
ale.
fit on the board?
Turning your head is exhausting.
What if you have like a cramp? Then you can't.
Yeah, just look. Move your eyes.
Muscle spasm?
Who are you calling grandma now? Come on. At least I can
Listen,
move my neck.
There's a difference between being efficient and being old.
You can call this the efficient Scottish ale.
Efficient old Scottish ale.
There you go.
Yeah.
How about officially old Scottish Ale?
Or,
No, they just got rid of a beer called Old. They
Efficient
don't want to put on
Ethan.
a
it was
Old
called
Scottish
Old
ale.
Brick Alt
Oh yeah, yeah. This is kind of occupying that like
niche.
malt forward, not high ABV kind of thing, and where Old Brick Alt was, James Brown kind of took that in. The ESB was there for a bit, and right now we don't have something like that. So this is kind of taking that spot soon, hopefully.
For anyone who doesn't know, we're not talking about James Brown the person. James Brown the beer.
He was
brewed
just
here.
sitting on the back of our
was
bar.
They were like, "Can we please put some beer where you're sitting?" I think that's a good name. We have a good name, Tam O'Shanter.
It's the name of a Scottish
It's a
cat.
Scottish hat, yeah, Tam O'Shanter.
He knew that. That's the funny thing. I didn't. Know
Yeah,
that.
that's true. We could do that.
It's so obvious,
Tam
but so
O'Shanter.
perfect. Tam O'Shanter Ale.
Tom, remember that.
Not gonna happen.
I think you should call it.
He means he's not going to remember it. Not that
Write
it's not
it
an
down.
appropriate name.
You have a pen.
I do have.
I don't have a pen.
Attack.
We shared a pen for this game
Yeah.
We share it.
because I
I-
dropped
there-
mine and I couldn't find it.
There is not a beer called Tam O'Shanter.
All right.
When you put it
Although-
in on Untapped, Tetley House Ale comes up.
I don't know how.
I think you- actually,
very German area. How is that?
I
gonna
think you
work
should call
out?
it Attack Eyebrows Scottish Ale.
I have the word groundskeeper in there somewhere.
I am surprised that there's no Tam O'Shanter because if you search kilt, there's 1,000 kilt, maybe
Something
not
or other.
1,000, but lots of kilt beers.
I like the Scottish.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very tasty.
Yeah.
You get the subtle sweetness you expect up front, but I like the roasty finish.
When we brewed it, we had really lofty ideas of doing boiled down wort thing, like a very traditional Scottish thing. So we
It lasted
brought
for about an hour.
yeah.
You're like that'll.
Well,
take too
we
long.
actually found a way to simulate it with our kettle, so it worked out nicely. But we brought my converted keg for homebrew and my burner, and we set it up out back. And all right, we ran off 10 gallons of the first runnings and lit the burner. And we're gonna let it boil outside and then add it back in, and it was a mess, and it didn't even get up to boiling in a reasonable time. And in the meantime, we figured out how to get our system up to a premature boil, and it worked out nicely.
premature boil.
Yeah.
I like that. Premature boil.
Premature kill.
There's no such thing as a premature boil. If it's
Only
boiling,
efficiency.
it's ready to boil.
Yeah,
It's only efficiency.
Well,
Guys are laughing. Steph is
Anyway.
looking around awkwardly.
Yeah.
No, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of a beer name for
Premature
the Scottish.
fermentation.
Premature boil.
Well, dare I ask, what are the favorites of the evening?
Smoked porter.
Porter? Wayne?
I would have said smoked porter until
Steph not said
no, until the Scotch Ale came out. That was
Oh.
actually my favorite.
all right,
That was
all right.
that was my favorite.
I got to go with Jackpot.
Jackpot
good.
was awesome. I'm
The
still sipping
cherries.
on a bit of it.
Usually not a beer I would go towards, but I very much enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Delicious.
I'd probably go with tonight. I'd probably go with the Jackpot too. It's
Just
just
tonight.
it really, yeah. Like I said, usually I go the purest route, and I'm like, and that comes from drinking lots of Merry Monks off the bottling line. Quality control.
Of course, of course.
One in every 3 bottles.
But the Jackpot tonight was like you really got the. Yeah, I think you pointed out the yeasty,
Yep.
kind of the crust of the cherry pie, and like
It starts with
it
it
was
and
right
ends
on.
with it.
Yeah, you get it in the aroma and then the cherry.
Mm.
And wow.
Yep.
and he's done.
That sums it up.
Do our listeners know that you actually
I'm gonna take a nap.
that you do our listeners know that you have an acting history too? Have we ever talked about
think
that?
I don't think that's ever come up.
No, we haven't. But
Okay, before we get to my favorite beer,
Yes,
we have
Tom,
about
sorry.
we have about 3 hours of Colin's history of when he acted with Taylor Swift
Yeah.
and all types of
yeah,
other.
back in the day.
Back in the
Back
day.
in the day.
I believe I'm the reason for the teardrops in her guitar. All right. Anyway,
Tom,
Tom,
what was
what's
your
your favorite beer?
Please, please.
all of them.
That's a
No.
cop out.
No.
Come
No,
on.
boo.
Not when you're the chef.
Boo.
Yep.
Sophie's choice. Come on. You got to pick one of them. Which child
Which
dies?
one do you want a pint of right now?
Kind of want to. I would have to go with the Sunbun, and I'm looking
Yeah.
for hoppy right now.
All
Yeah.
right.
If I was doing a pint, I'd do a pint of the Sunbonnet Citra.
I can see that.
That came out nicely, and it's
Yeah, it
it's,
did.
Yeah, good.
It's gonna be a great springtime beer.
Sessionable-ish.
I think as long as you say a bull, it's good. So
bull?
sessionable.
It's not session. It's session.
I don't know. I still don't think we would approve.
No.
So our listeners can find you on Facebook.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Yes, we are on Facebook. Facebook is kind of our primary thing. We have a Twitter that every once in a while I'll remember that we have and tweet something.
Just put Tom in charge of that. That'd be more entertaining, right?
I don't know if that's
we
a
would
good idea.
we would follow a lot of dirty comedians.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, who does Golden Avalanche Beer follow on Twitter? Lots of dirty comedians.
Wow.
And a few beer people, maybe.
Yeah. Tom brings like he's much more of a Twitter guy than I am, but that's like good jokes from Twitter, basically. Yeah.
Or retweeting palindromes.
Yeah.
Oh, God. There you go.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
more-
Not if I'm in charge.
No more palindromes.
So yes, so we are on Facebook and Twitter, and Tom
Golden
and I,
Avalanche Brewing Company.
Tom and I are individually on Instagram and contemplating a company Instagram,
That would be awesome.
but
Good, yeah.
we're individually there, and so
Are one of you at Golden, the other at Avalanche?
No.
with our powers combined,
Nice. And I know you said earlier you have events. The 25th of April was the PA
flavor.
PA flavor, and the 18th
Reading.
is the Reading Craft Beer
Right,
Fest.
right. And Team Peggy is going to be May 3rd.
May 3rd.
Which is
Sly
always
Fox.
fun and always good to support.
bet.
Yeah.
May 3rd.
I like how the event is now not the Sly Fox Goat Race.
Nope, it's
Bog
Team
Fest.
Peggy.
It's
Team
Team
Peggy.
Peggy.
Team Peggy
As far as
will
we're
be there.
concerned, it's Team Peggy.
Actually, as a side note, a number of like blogs have picked up the goat race because it's a fantastic event. It is an amazing, totally different, totally weird.
Wasn't it in that like weird
Yeah,
alternative beer fest
I
thing?
posted
Yeah.
that recently, and the photos they picked for it are like both Team Peggy photos, and so it's kind of
Awesome.
cool. So it's like me with Peggy, and then the other one was a whole bunch of us. I think the year Simon won, maybe.
Well, thanks for being on the show again, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pleasure. Anytime.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun having you on here, even though I have to do a lot of editing.
I need to get
I
a
know.
text when Evil Genius is going to be on.
No,
Yeah.
you don't.
No.
Yes.
I already
I
have
will
a lot
call
of-
up Colin and quit.
Thank you.
And you
Thank
guys
you
will
for having
have
me.
gold.
I already have enough editing to do when you're on and when they're on.
Separate.
God help
Not
me if
together.
you are together.
Yep.
Again,
Yeah, again, that's
together
true.
at
Yeah,
last.
That's
Last
true.
Last
I
time,
heard your creative editing, by the way. A couple of things made me sound like a bigger asshole. Than I
trust me, you don't need any help to sound like a bigger asshole. Oh, snap!
yeah, but But you cut something very, very strategically where I'm yelling out, "Oh, let's go pick up some girls with low self-esteem," instead of it being, "Hey, Luke is the one that yelled this in the middle of a crowded bar."
That's funny. Did you know when you said that the guy from what the heck, from one of the beer distributors or something? He's like
The Beer Mart.
Yeah.
Bob, yeah.
Or
No, you were saying because that was after you stole my microphone, so I was just standing off to the side, and the dude, I think it was the Beer Mart dude, came walking up to like come talk to us, and he heard you say that. He's like, I don't know, came over here, but now some dude's talking about chicks with low self-esteems or whatever. I was like, dude, he's not with the podcast. He's just some guy.
yeah,
He's
he
like,
was going to be on the show and then he wasn't.
He was. It was kind
and
of.
I think
funny.
it was because of you.
Like I don't think he was like really serious, but it was kind of awkward for a second. I was like, well, I mean, yeah, it was kind of funny.
Well, anyway, thank you for having us out here, guys.
Absolutely.
Pleasure.
It was a lot of fun, and I have a lot of work ahead of me, and Tom is spilling things over there. At least
a
it's
drop.
At
It was
least
empty.
At least it's far away from the computer. That's the important part. So yeah, check out Golden Avalanche Brewing Company on Facebook. Check out Tom and Colin separately on Instagram.
And at Gabco Beer on Twitter.
At Gabco Beer on Twitter. Every so often there will be an update.
Yep.
Okay. And, of course, beerbusterspodcast.com. That's like the 15th time. We have videos. We have other stuff. Go check it out. Yeah, that sadly brings us to the end of another episode of Beer Busters. And it's been a hell of a ride. Gentlemen, thank you for everything. The beer is great. The environment here is cool. I like the food. I like the beer. It's a lot of fun. And I look forward to hopefully coming back.
And you guys aren't so bad.
Thanks.
Yeah, you guys are, whatever. As always, I am Dan Baker, joined by my co-host and brewologist,
Steph Hefner.
and our from entertainer,
Wayne Baker.
Let's not forget, no squids were harmed in the making of this episode.
A nut for a can of tuna.
I'm just gonna let it play.
So when do I drop the mic?
Never. It's expensive.
Oh.